Hey everyone, and welcome back to Pencils and Prairies. Today I'm going to be doing a video on what surprised me about homeschooling. This is a collab that I put out a few weeks ago, but life got a little crazy and I ended up not recording to be a part of the playlist. So I'm glad that I finally am able to contribute my video, and I appreciate the patience of the other moms who are in this collab. And so anyways, let's get into it. Okay, so when I started homeschooling, I thought that it was going to be about the textbooks and the checklists and making sure that my kids were doing all these things and keeping up with all the things and all of that. But as time went on, the first thing that I realized was that as a homeschool teacher, I'm going to have to study my kids. You can't just plop a textbook down and expect your kids to know how to do everything, right? You can't just have all these activities and be able to just jump into them. Because what you realize is that everything you do, from reading to writing to art to whatever, things are going to be better suited for certain students than others. And one of the disadvantages of being in a big classroom is that the teacher has to teach, kind of either try to cater to all the different learning styles or just kind of stay with one, and everyone just kind of has to catch up or stay on track or follow along. And so what I learned pretty early on is that I have to study my students, my kids. I have to know their personalities. And when you're a mom, you, by default, you kind of know how your kids act, right? You know the things that they're going to be doing, how they're going to be doing it, how they respond with their love languages and so on. But when you actually have to sit down and teach them, you realize that there are some things that you didn't really understand about your child. And that's the second thing that I would say that homeschooling surprised me, was that I understand my kids better. So because I'm having to study them, not only are you going to understand your kids better because you're now spending all this time with them, but if you are really concerned about their educational and spiritual and physical well-being, because you're their teacher, not only their parent, but you're also their teacher, you're going to pay so much attention to them and you're going to learn about them even more. And as I have been on this homeschool journey, I have learned so much more about my kids that had I sent them somewhere, I wouldn't have really paid as much attention to. Because when you're searching through curriculum and how to make things stick for your kids and how to have them remember things and enjoy them, you really, really focus on how do they communicate. And that's the biggest part of homeschooling, is communication, right? You're trying to convey an idea to your children, or allow them to convey an idea to you as you start communicating these different thoughts and experiences. And it's a beautiful thing. But in the beginning, hi, my dog. Hi, Judah. He wants my necklace. That was the next thing, is that I understand my kids better. The next thing that surprised me about homeschooling was that I am redeeming my own education. So I hate math, right? Like, I hate math, or at least I did, because I'm learning, and I homeschool from a classical model. So we really focus on the 3 stages of learning for an individual: the grammar stage when you're a child, the dialectic stage when you're kind of in middle school, which is really taking all the basics of everything you've learned and you're starting to unpack them. And then rhetoric stage, when you start to take the basics of everything you've learned and you've unpacked them, and so now you're going to argue for them or learn how to communicate ideas with what you learned over the course of your educational journey. So in learning from the classical model, we also do a lot of rote memorization. So memorizing things so that we can just spew out the facts and things. And in this journey of homeschooling, I am learning so much. And remember how I said I hate math. In teaching my son, who is kind of becoming a math whiz, he loves math, he loves logic, he loves figuring out problem solving and mechanics. And I kind of think maybe he's going to be an engineer someday, I don't know. But in doing that, I am relearning math. And it's not that I don't know 2 plus 2 or 6 times 5 or, what is division or subtraction. It's not that I don't know those things. It's that when in my educational journey, math was one of those things that after I got to a certain level, and I would say probably still in the grammar stage or maybe dialectic stage of learning, I something got missed. And when you are working with math, you can't miss stuff because it builds on itself. So if you don't learn some steps, then it's going to be near impossible to excel because you're missing you're gonna have these holes in your patterns for getting to the answer. So somewhere along the line, that kind of happened for me, and I really suffered through geometry and algebra, and I was just so petrified of doing math. And now as I'm going through it again from kindergarten to first to now second grade, I'm seeing the beauty of math, and I'm seeing that it is totally possible to excel in math and with anything if you just learn the basics. And so that's one area where for me, my education is being redeemed. And I feel and I can see as though as I progress in homeschooling my children, I'm coming back at it from, okay, I've kind of learned all these things and now I'm relearning them with my kids. But I have a little bit of knowledge from when I was a kid, so it's making everything more beautiful and more real to me and important. And so that's something that I am so thankful for. The last thing that I would say that surprised me about homeschooling is that, and this is going to really stick out for Christian believers, is that it's making me a better parent because it is showing me how God sees my kids. And this all kind of ties into studying my kids and knowing them better. But I kind of want to tap on the issue of sin here because we are all born depraved in our sin. We are born in sin. You don't have to teach kids to sin, to do mean things or to disobey. You don't have to teach your kids to do that. And when you homeschool, there are plenty of opportunities to see sin habits grip on us, on our children, and on us as parents. And so in this homeschooling journey and having to learn that hard work pays off. I mean, I taught my son how to read. There are no words for the feeling of knowing I did that with him, but it wasn't without its struggles, okay? We were on the struggle bus to struggle city all day, every day for a season, I tell you what. And there was fighting and there was yelling and tears, and there were so many things I would have done differently. But it showed me that within our humanity, with our pride and our anger and our wanting to do things our way, that the Lord still loves us and pursues us as his own. And with homeschooling, having all those opportunities to work through sinful nature with my kids, as well as my own sinful nature, it has really shown me the love of God. Because if I can get through these hurdles with my own kids, how much more can the God of all creation, who deserves all praise and all glory, do that for me? I'm an adult and I still do things wrong and I still do things I know I shouldn't do. And, I still struggle with sin, and I will until he returns. And so it has helped me have such a better picture of the love of God. And in turn has made me look at my children as, instead of, yes, I'll say it, being annoyed or feeling burdened by some of these traits of my children, I see it as ministry opportunity. So, okay, that action that's happening right now, this is an issue of the heart. This is a heart issue. We got to get through this. This is not them attacking me. This is not them just being frustrated with me. this anger in this moment is a heart issue that we have to work on. It goes deeper than just not understanding math or not understanding, reading. There's so much deeper than that. And when you parent with that knowledge, it changes everything. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this. There are so many other things that I could have talked about, but I thought that these are the things that I think of the most when I think of how homeschooling has changed me, what has surprised me about homeschooling. If you would like, please like this video if it was helpful for you. Go check out those other ladies in the playlist. Their videos are awesome. And I am just so thankful to be a part of this awesome homeschool community online. So go ahead, thumbs up, subscribe if you'd like to see more videos, and until next time, bye.